Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our major stories. Hope rises for residents of Niger Delta as acting president promises legalizing local refineries in the region. A federal high court in Kano orders forfeiture of $9.8 million allegedly stolen by the former managing director of the NNPC, Andrew Yakubu. Frontline professor of international law, Akin Oyebode, challenges President Muhammadu Buhari to also consider speaking to Nigerians as a way of dousing tension over his health condition. And scores of people killed in the Democratic Republic of Congo as soldiers clash with militiamen. Just to remind you that for more on our top stories and others, please visit our website channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also watch us on the go on your mobile device. Log on to m.channelstv.com or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You also have the eyewitness feature, so you too can be part of the news. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu and follow the instructions to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. We have some of those pictures and let's share them with you now, if we can. The first is this one from Ueli South in Delta State. Our eyewitness reporter is asking the government to look into the state of education infrastructure in the state. And this one came in from Ikoton area of Lagos State. Our eyewitness reporter wants members of the public to avoid street fighting. And here our eyewitness reporter sent in this picture from Palm Grove area of Shomolu in Lagos. He is asking residents to desist from creating illegal waste dumps. Let's end with this picture of an accident from Ojota area of Lagos State. Our eyewitness reporter is appealing to motorists to be more cautious on the roads. Thanks a lot for all your pictures, and do send us more pictures when you have them. Now, the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, was in Imo State earlier today after his visit to Rivers as part of his Niger Delta tour. The acting president was out on the streets, flanked by the governor of the state, Rocha Sokorocha, and his deputy, who was seen greeting school children and people of the state who were very excited to see them. Professor Osinbajo is in Imo to engage the oil-producing communities in the current federal government outreach and also to fashion out ways to engage in meaningful conversations about bringing peace to the region.
I know we are in here.
A professor of international law and jurisprudence at the University of Lagos, Akin Oyebode, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to speak to Nigerians from his vacation base in Lagos. According to Professor Oyebode, this move has become even more necessary after the president's telephone conversation with US President Donald Trump. Professor Oyebode adds that Nigerians have a right to know the whereabouts of their president, and it would only be fair for the president to address Nigerians to dispel rumors in the country about his health.
I've seen pictures in the papers of visitors, and he looks okay, and the wife says pray for him and all that, to assure us, he's president of Nigeria, that everything is okay. Nothing stops your correspondent in London going to interview him, and China's carrying it. It will suit worried bums, okay, in Nigeria. Well, if the president can find the time and strength to talk to Donald Trump, then he should be able to talk to us. And it's not too difficult. Skype is there. Also, you sell them the idea that Nigerians are waiting. It's not enough to hear that everything is okay, it's hunky-dory with the president. You should just use Skype, address us that, fellow Nigerians, I thank you for your empathy, for your sympathy, for everything. I'm okay. Before too long, I'm going to be back on scene. That's enough.
Professor of International Law, Akin Oyebode. The Islamic movement is asking the federal government to comply with the order of a federal high court, which asked for the unconditional release of their leader, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, and his wife. In a petition presented to the National Human Rights Commission in Abuja, The group claims that El-Zakzaky is going blind owing to lack of access to quality medical care. The group appealed to the NHRC to intervene and ensure that their leader, who's been in detention since December 2015, is released to enable him attend to his failing health.
It is another peaceful march as the Academic Forum of the Islamic Movement in Nigeria take to the streets of Abuja to protest the continuous incarceration of their leader, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky. The peaceful march terminates at the headquarters of the National Human Rights Commission, where the group submits a protest letter to officials of the commission stating their demands.
One of his eyes is in dire need of proper medical treatment. So that is why we are here today. And there is a need for the Sheikh to be flown abroad, particularly any place of his choice for proper medication.
The Director of Monitoring at the National Human Rights Commission receives the letter with an assurance that the Commission will attend to their request.
When we received your complaint, the last complaint you came about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, we have also conveyed your complaint to the appropriate quarters. So my advice to you, the advice of the Commission to you is you wait. And having assured you now that your complaint is being looked into.
A federal high court sitting in Abuja had on the 2nd of December 2016 ordered the Department of State Services to release Sheikh El-Zakzaky and his wife within 45 days of the judgment. But 3 months after the judgment, the federal government is yet to comply with the order of the court.
All right, now we cross over to Abuja. Here's Ivy Clem. Ivy.
Thank you, Ijoma. The Senate Committee on Culture and Tourism is faulting the Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism, Lai Mohammed, for the ministry's inability to generate sizable revenue in 2016. At a budget defense session in the National Assembly, committee members discovered that the culture sector, which is under the Ministry of Information, generated only 620,000 naira in 2016. The chairman of the committee, Senator Matthew Goide, describes the IGR as extremely low, but the Minister of Information argued that the ministry is not designed to generate revenue.
It's only in Nigeria that all our MDs keep talking about expenditure. Nobody wants to talk about revenue. But I think it is important that you are reminded that even the federal government of Nigeria, before it brings up its budget proposal to its assembly, to National Assembly, it first comes up with what we call MTEF, Medium Term Expenditure Framework, and FSP. The whole idea is that the assumptions that are made, that of course will tell us the picture of what the revenue profile is going to be like. But each time you come in, you come up with only expenditure. And you can imagine the ministry that has allocated billions of naira. All you have come up with is 620,000 naira. I just believe, we have not exhausted all avenues to ensure that more resources, more revenue is driven into the purse of government from this ministry.
It's quite unfortunate that the ministry as it is today, you can hardly generate revenue. You must look outside the box, think outside the box before you're able to generate revenue. And some of the things you can do to do that is partnering with the private sector in a manner that is not even provided for in the service. But that will look in.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says it's closed 2 foreign missions abroad and is considering closing more in a bid to save costs for the country. The permanent secretary of the ministry put forward this position when the ministry appeared before the Joint Foreign Affairs Committee of the National Assembly to defend its 2017 budget. The lawmakers also considered the details of the ministry's 2016 budget. Our correspondent Larry Lasisi has the report.
Ministers and officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs appearing before the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Foreign Affairs. The lawmakers were taken through the ministry's performance on the 2016 budget by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, after which they raised some issues.
From the papers that you sent to us, 63 people went to the United Nations General Assembly at a cost of 225 million naira. So I'd like to find out whether this bloated figures was in line with Mr. President's vision, and whether it is also a realistic thing, and moving forward, whether you think that it is a path that we should follow.
Can you tell us how many missions have been merged and closed altogether in the intervening period between last year and now?
We have closed 2 of these missions, which are the ones in Caracas, to which I referred, and also the D8 in Istanbul. Right now, we're in the process of closing the other 6. Like I said, we've made a recommendation, for instance, that this decision be reconsidered as regards, say, countries like Kiev and also even the consulate in Sao Paulo.
Meanwhile, in the House of Representatives, the Minister of Interior and the Inspector General of Police were before the House Committee on Police Affairs. The meeting focused on the implementation of the ministry's 2016 budget.
Approaching the end of the fiscal year, maybe by the end of March, and you said only 40% of these funds were released to the ministry. So we want to know, did you make any provision in the 2017 Appropriation Act to take care of this ongoing project?
We want the police to be able to handle this project themselves. And this is why we say we will transfer this project. Certainly they will not be abandoned. We want to ensure that the police note them in the 2017 budget and on until completion.
The committee also looked at the budget of the Police Service Commission. Larry Lasisi, Channels Television News.
A civil servant with the Kogi State Scholarship Board, Mrs. Rebecca Omachi, has been accused of abusing her 10-year-old niece who was kept in her care. Mrs. Omachi, who is the executive secretary of the Scholarship Board, allegedly applied a preheated stone to her niece's feet and face after tying her hands and feet. And we'll go back to Ijoma in Lagos with more news.
Thanks a lot, Ivy. When the news at 10 returns, Nigeria's Debt Management Office plans to launch the country's first savings bond for securities market expansion. And that will be on business. Please stay with us.